Sonic Frontiers will never work again. If Sega does an exact copy of this, it's not gonna work. It will never work again. But that's not to say Frontiers is awful. I need to explain my statement for it to make sense. So here we are. Sonic Frontiers is the most recent 3D installment for Sonic. So how was it? Is this game good? Did this game that tried a new formula work? Some people explained it as a step backwards and not what they wanted. Some treated it as the second coming of Jesus. Is that true? Well, let's start with the story. Off in a random forest, Eggman is exploring these ruins. While investigating the ruins, Eggman places this machine on the portal that contains this AI program he made in order to enter this digital realm and investigate the ancient technology. Suddenly, robots appear ready to take him out. Then the program finds a way to drag Eggman into the cyberspace portal. Enter Sonic, Tails, and Amy on the tornado flying towards these islands called the Starfall Islands. The gang says the Chaos Emeralds were drawn here. As they fly towards the island, a vortex opens up and sucks the trio into the digital realm. Sonic then finds himself in Green Hills Zone. After reaching the end goal, Sonic escapes the digital realm after hearing a disembodied voice saying he is the key. The voice tells him to find the Chaos Emerald and defeat the Titans. Sonic asks the voice to explain. It doesn't, so Sonic says, alright, whatever, let's do this. After going through the tutorial, which is honestly very slow and not the best way to start the game, like it is it goes over combat puzzles in cyberspace. After you find one of the Chaos Emeralds, the camera pans across the first island, Kronos Island. Sonic meets up with Amy, who is trapped in a digital prison. To save her, Sonic has to collect these memory tokens to release her. After grabbing enough of them, he rescues her and Sonic gets the start of a digital corruption. Amy is worried, but Sonic says, nah, and you continue exploring. Suddenly, a mysterious girl appears with a massive Titan robot. The girl tells Sonic to leave immediately. Sonic is determined to save his friends, and the girl won't explain why he should leave, so Sonic says whatever and tries to defeat the Titan. Damn. Alright, after waking up, Sonic realizes he needs all of the Chaos Emeralds to defeat the Titan. As you explore Kronos Island, Amy finds the Coco, a group of mysterious little rock creatures that inhabit the islands. A Coco tells Amy and Sonic that they are looking for their special someone. Amy and Sonic decide to help, however, afterwards, Sonic and Amy have a little argument. Sonic thinks finding the lost Coco is taking too long, and Amy tells Sonic, are you about to abandon someone in need? With Sonic saying no, but that he's more concerned of helping her. Bet the Amy shippers are real happy about this one. But Sonic says nope, he will do it anyways. So Sonic does some mini games, and eventually both of them see visions of the past where they see that the Cocos look like chaos. That's odd. Afterwards, the Coco have their spirits leave the little rock formations they were inhabiting, with them turning into empty shells. Sonic collects the remaining Chaos Emeralds, where both Amy and Sonic then have a nice little moment next to some flowers. After you complete a puzzle with Sonic climbing a waterfall, approaching the Titan to then collect the final emerald on top of the Titan's head. After getting the emerald, you fight the Titan. We'll talk about more of that later. After defeating the Titan, Sonic meets up with Amy and talks to her about finding Tails and flies to the next island. Super Sonic flies to the island but starts getting shot by the island defenses. It causes him to lose the emeralds and crash land on Ares Island. And then the process repeats itself. This time you find Knuckles. If you watch the pre-story animation, you know why he's here. If you didn't, well, hey, Knuckles is here. Sonic releases Knuckles, with Sonic getting more corrupted. Knuckles reluctantly thanks him, and Sonic continues to explore, with the girl appearing again with another giant Titan. She warns him by... Dude, what the hell? What kind of a warning is that? Jesus. Sonic explores more and finds the mystery girl again, explaining that he has a feeling she is looking for someone, that he is willing to help, and she tries to kill him. But Knuckles steps in and basically says, these hands rated E for everyone, bitch. But Sonic tells him no, that she's trying to protect someone, and offers to help again. The girl, kinda shocked, leaves, and Sonic and Knuckles then have a friendly little rivalry talk, with them exploring more of Ares Island. They find the Coco, see some visions of the past again, and see more chaos creatures. This time, they're Coco soldiers who were attempting to fight back a creature that essentially took him out instantly. Knuckles finds ruin that remind him of Angel Island. What the fuck? It doesn't look like Angel Island. What? Knuckles, who is kind of heartbroken about the fallen Coco, then talks to Sonic about feeling alone, that this reminds him that he's the last of his kind. He is all alone. Sonic tells him that he's not alone. He has them, his friends. Knuckles and Sonic then have a good moment with their friendly little rivalry appearing again, with the AI girl suddenly appearing confused that Sonic and Knuckles not seeing eye to to eye suddenly have moments of friendship and brotherhood. Sonic then does a crane game and climbs to the tower to reach the Titan. After running through some paths and reaching the head, you collect the emerald and fight the Titan. After defeating the Titan, Sonic meets with Knuckles and then goes to the next island, reaching Chaos Island. Sonic again gets shot, loses the emerald, and has to explore the island again. He finds Tails, gets the corruption again, with it now taking over way more than before. Tails is worried, but Sonic assures him he's fine and asks him to help find all the emeralds. Tails agrees and leaves, with Sonic collapsing to the corruption, hiding it from Tails. Now the girl is starting to understand Sonic's qualities, for you see, while going through the islands, this girl turns out to be Eggman's AI program taken form. She not only discusses things with Eggman, but starts to understand much more, even talks to Eggman about respect and not liking someone. And Eggman saying, I can respect Sonic, but I don't have to like him. So while seeing Sonic interact with his friends, she starts to develop more complex emotion. She sees the complexities of life and even develops a daughter relationship with Eggman. As Sonic is starting to fall to the corruption, she even states that it's not fair. She asks a question to Tails about Sonic and why he trusts him, and even starts to feel bad that Sonic will ultimately fall out of the corruption. Eggman also shows he starts to care about the program. Kind of comes out of nowhere, but he does start. And after seeing a sweet moment between Tails and Sonic, she begins to cry because now she wants a family. Sonic and Tails find another Coco, who is the sidekick of the hero wanting to help in the fight. As they continue their journey, Tails eventually asks Sonic if he is a burden to him, which Sonic kind of like, the fuck? And as the player, the fuck? Tails then says he was not helpful during Forces, that he was just a scared little bitch, and yeah, exactly he was. With Sonic then bringing up Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, with Tails saying, nah, that's inconsistent, and he wants to be more on top of it. Sonic then tells him that he has been doing great, and he's surprised how fast Tails has changed and grow up, which is pretty deep for Sonic, with Tails even pointing it out. With Sonic saying he has his moments. This is really cool. They collect the emeralds and eventually are ready to fight the Titan. Sonic solves the puzzle for this island by beating a BS pinball machine. Sonic then jumps to a crater and fights the Titan. Climbing the head, grabbing the emerald, Sonic fights the thing and defeats it. After he flies to the next island, Rhea Island, towers pop up, and after losing the emeralds, the voice again appears telling Sonic to climb the towers to release his friends. After reaching the top and deactivating the tower, Sonic sees visions of the past. The Chaos creatures fled their home planet because of a planet-destroying being. While you get exposition of this, Sonic is slowly but surely succumbing to the corruption. Alright. Each vision tells a story of the ancients. They were not from here, and neither were the Chaos Emeralds. What the hell? These things aren't from here? What? But the Master Emerald is from Sonic's world? What? I don't understand, but maybe they were here and then they left and came back? Honestly, now I have more questions than answers, but wow, that's something they have never looked at or even tried to explain. The ancients ended up coming to the island and sealed the end in cyberspace and in one of the Titans. After climbing the last tower, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman are all released from cyberspace. However, Sonic is now trapped due to the digital corruption. As Eggman gloats that Sonic is gone, Sage tells him that he must return to cyberspace immediately. Eggman doesn't like that, but as Sage explains, it's for his safety. The voice suddenly speaks, saying that when it recovers its full form, it will consume everything. Tails then tells Amy and Knuckles that they can drive the corruption away but need to return to cyberspace, with the team holding hands and releasing Sonic from his corruption. Like the power of friendship. This is such a hero's moment. Now that he is free, Sage tells Eggman to team up with Sonic to collect the emeralds and defeat the End. Eggman reluctantly agrees by saying Sonic is now part of the Eggman Empire, which, wow, imagine if that was true. Jesus. Now, here's where the story changes. Before the final update, the story went pretty straightforward. However, now with the final update, we have a new story. That I know of, no one story is canon since both endings still virtually end with the same cutscene, so it's just a matter of what you prefer. Gameplay wise, they both have their ups and downs, but honestly, you can pick any one you want. So let's tackle the original one and then tackle the new one. So after being inducted into the Eggman Empire, Sage and Sonic go across the islands collecting the emeralds, with Eggman handling the last one to Sonic to fight the final Titan. Sonic fights the Titan, with the End recovering to its full potential. Sage tells Eggman she knows what to do and has to join Sonic to fight the End. Eggman sounds worried and concerned to have her go, but says to go anyways. Sonic and Sage fight the End with a boring final boss fight, but as they defeat the End, the being tries one final attack, with Sage sacrificing herself to save her her father, with her last words to Sonic being to watch over him. Sonic returns to the Starfall Islands and reunites with his fully released friends, with Eggman being sad Sage didn't return, but that's the original plot to the base game. Now for the free update. Sonic starts his journey in Aronos Island, but is stopped by Eggman and Sage. They tell him that it's possible to use the cyber corruption to their advantage to defeat the End. In order for this to happen, Sonic needs to ask his friends to find the emerald. Sage does some programming shit, and thus their cyber forms show up in front of Sonic, with Sonic telling them that there is a plan that they have to agree on. Amy, Knuckles, and Tails are going to look for the emeralds while Sonic does his thing and climb these new lookout towers. As they look for the emeralds, Amy thinks the Coco could possibly help them and collects the Coco, with Tails and Knuckles hacking a terminal or destroying it. As Sonic climbs the towers, he meets the Cocos that were the former pilots of the Titans. They said they would help Sonic as long as they get to test him and see if he really is capable of defeating the End. Some of the pilots don't like Sonic, but after their trials, they respect him and grant them their blessing. With Sonic meeting the Master King and doing the last trial, Sonic is granted a new power. After meeting with everyone, Sonic gets the emerald from his friends and fights the last Titan. After fighting Supreme again, the End appears and takes hold of the Titan, transforming into a creepy version of it, with Sonic now fighting it with his new powered up super form. After beating the Titan, Sonic is able to take the gun and hand it off to Eggman, where he prepares to fire it at the End. Sage protects everyone with a shield, with Tails, Knuckles, and Amy joining her. As Sonic does enough damage, he trashes the Titan, goes into the gun, uses all the power from the cyber corruption, and Eggman pulls the trigger, launching a fully powered Supersonic into the End, defeating it. Sonic returns home, and the difference being is Eggman and Sage are still together, with Eggman saying, "Let's go home, daughter." The final cutscene plays with Tails and Knuckles and Amy mentioning the adventures they want to go on, and they want to grow as characters, ending the story of Sonic Frontiers with One Way Dream. Wow, what a way to end the story. For a Sonic story, this is such an improvement from what we had before. Mind you, Sonic and the Black Knight and Sonic Unleashed, I think, have the best writing and characterization for the characters of all time. Yet here, I don't think the story ever gets to that point. It is still good in my eyes, but it does have its issues. So for this game, they brought Ian Flynn to help with the story. From what I know, he didn't write the plot points, but he did write the story beats, the in-between stuff. That's something I really love. The way the characters interact with each other, the dialogue between Sonic and everyone when discussing the island or learning more about Sage, it was great and not required. I am talking about the side story stuff. On the island, Sonic can find his friends or Sage, where they talk about the adventures, thoughts, history of the island, or even Sage and Sonic having deeper conversations. These moments are great. Combined with the great moments in the regular story, it's amazing. The characters have returned to form. Sonic and his friends are acting like themselves again. Tails calls himself out for the horrible inconsistency in forces compared to the adventure games, addressing the issues that fans hated. Knuckles and Sonic have these deep moments about being the last of his kind, but that he has his friends. Amy and Sonic actually interact like people that care for each other. Again, I think the Amy shippers love this shit, but holy shit, Eggman actually gives a shit about Sage. Seeing Sage develop and grow with Eggman caring for her was great. I mean, Sage developing feelings for Eggman was great. We'll talk more about the Eggman part later, but I did say this story is not perfect. One of the problems for this game's story is the inconsistency in presentation. 1 minute the cutscenes are animated and done pretty okay, or at least alright. Then the next moment they are standing and looking stiff and just talking. And then all of a sudden it transforms to a JPEG of something important. Like, come on, what the hell is this? Mind you, I will defend Frontiers on one aspect of this. This is something that you see in almost every major video game. Countless video games do this now, where the model is standing there while the character is talking. It saves on resources on having to do animations, like Assassin's Creed does this, Yakuza does this, Insomniac Spider-Man does it. Like, holy shit, so many video games do this type of shit. So I'm not gonna give Frontiers too much shit for that. I am gonna give Frontiers shit for showing JPEGs for actual important story cutscenes. Like, yeah, this is unacceptable. What the hell was this? What were y'all thinking? Another problem is when they fuck up on certain things, like showing Angel Island instead of Hidden Palace for Knuckles' flashback. It left me confused, but yeah, I wish the story had better presentation, because in my eyes, that's what ultimately holds this story back to reach the levels of Black Knight or Unleashed. The only other problem with the story is Eggman's relationship to Sage. While some cutscenes are sprinkled in that Eggman was starting to like Sage, nothing was set up that well. It kinda can come out of nowhere. Sage's relationship with Eggman is done well, and moments with her are great. great. You love her, and it's great to see her develop more. Eggman's thoughts kind of just show up. This can be fixed with the egg memos. These are unlocked in the fishing minigame, but that's the issue I have with the memos. While the memos do go over Eggman's thoughts of past adventures and even the ancients as a whole, it also shows that he's starting to develop more father-like feelings for Sage, which if you don't get, can catch you off guard. These memos should have been collected in the main world on the open zone, not here, because since they are technically optional, Eggman caring for Sage kind of feels forced without it. But overall, the return of the characterization of the characters that we love and the overall writing was great, and I am so happy we got a story like this. It makes me excited for what's next, but I have said this before, to me, gameplay matters more. So what is that like? Well, here we are. One of the biggest changes in this game is Sonic is now open world, or as the devs put it, open zone, leading to Frontiers having 3 main gameplay focuses: general movement and exploration, cyberspace levels, and combat. Let's start with the general movement and exploration. Right away, Sonic controls so much better here. If you go back to Unleashed or Generations or even Colors, when it comes to movement, going fast and straight wasn't too bad. It was great. By Forces, you kind of start noticing it, and you can notice it as early as Unleashed. Moving to the left or right was alright, but it wasn't great. Trying to make tiny movements that are precise, that was kind of a nightmare back then. In the past, Sonic was really stiff when trying to be precise. Here in Frontiers though, Sonic controls so beautifully. He can move left and right, making sharp, precise movements. Sonic, even while boosting, can move effectively left and right. He's got a double jump, a stomp, quick step, can grind on rails, use springs. He has a homing attack, air dash, a light speed dash, which they put on the left stick for some reason, a new move, the Psyloop, and he even has the drop dash. It's really stiff, but he has it. Before we continue, one of the other additions was the fact that Sonic Frontiers allows you to customize Sonic's speed, handling, deceleration, jump, and other mechanics. You can go to the options and adjust them to your liking. This was the best thing Frontiers introduced. Now players can adjust it to how they see fit, meaning that Sonic's movement can be fine-tuned to fit your playstyle. Adjusting these makes the movement even more fun. The boost was nerfed in this game. It kind of started with Forces, which does hinder movement a bit, but if Sonic collects the max amount of rings he can carry, Sonic will then be electrified and boost similarly to the previous games. It's also just kind of a really cool nod to the movie, which is pretty badass. The power boost lets Sonic traverse the island so much better and faster too. Oh my gosh, by using grind rails with this, Sonic can get massive height and reach areas just your own way that the developers may not have thought of. Boosting and jumping can let you reach areas further than just regular jumping. Adding the air dash to it, and my gosh, you can get so creative with it. Not just that, within certain surfaces, Sonic can be launched into the air, reaching areas way farther. Mind you, sometimes Sonic hugs the ground. It's usually on grass. I guess he really likes the grass. I don't know what's up with this. It's kind of a problem, but with the artificial stuff, you can launch yourself typically. And the spin dash was also added into the game. Oh my gosh, now we're cooking. Remember how I said you can explore the islands and get very creative? Well, the spin dash absolutely lets you get creative. The spin dash was the best addition added within the free updates, and it dramatically changed the game. Like, wow, I can do so much now and move so fast. I can be precise. I can get creative. Like, wow, I haven't felt this good just about exploring. That's amazing. With the movement options we have, what's the point of the controls being this fine-tuned? What's the point is what you're probably thinking. Well, across the islands, you will have to collect certain items to progress within the story. You have memory tokens, attack and defense seeds, Cocos, Chaos Emeralds, Portal Gears, Purple Coins, Special Cocos, Music, and Vault Keys. Mind you, some of these are optionals, but they are there. Those are the goals that you're gonna have to gather across all the islands. The memory tokens are scattered all over the place, so you can easily get them just by playing the game. But since you can have so much fun with the movement, you're gonna gather them naturally. The attack and defense seeds can be found in breakable objects, but typically you can complete certain puzzles to get them. Every single island has a map that is downloaded to Sonic's brain. Yes, that is the in-lore explanation. By completing the puzzles, you can unlock the map showing the locations of mini bosses, cyberspace gates, memory tokens, and the other collectibles on the island. To complete the puzzles, it's different depending on the puzzle you find. It's a race to the goal, parry the objects, jump rope, pass the ring gate, solve the puzzle on the ground, or side loop, whatever these things are. The worst one is the nighttime ones because they make it so you have to wait in order to complete them. You have to wait until night. It can suck. But once you complete a puzzle, you collect the Siege, which after finding the Elder Coco, you can level up Sonic. The collectibles that let Sonic's movement shine the most are the Special Cocos. The regular Cocos can be found almost anywhere. You're gonna find them just like the memory tokens, and the same can be said about the Purple Coins. Same with the music notes actually too. You will naturally find them all, but But the Special Coco are a little different. Added in the update, these are essentially challenges on the island. There are intended ways to do it, but this is where you can see how creative you can get. You might fail, but hey, they also took away lives, so experiment. See how creative you can get, and out of the norm you can get these things. It's fun. The Special Cocos also extend Sonic's boost gauge, but Sonic Frontiers also added the Psy Loop, which if you make an infinity symbol, you get infinite boost anyways. So it's kind of like, why are the Special Cocos here when I could just do this? But because the Special Cocos let you get creative, I actually like collecting them. They also have little Easter eggs to previous Sonic games. It's Caliburn, if you couldn't tell. Also added within the updates was the Action Chain challenges. These challenges require you to run around collecting these orbs, performing tricks, run around fighting enemies to reach a high score. If you get all S ranks on all the islands, you are granted the Spin Dash. Now, about those cyberspace portals. In order to enter the cyberspace portals, you need to collect portal gears. You can find these by side looping these blue spots, but the fastest way to get these is by fighting mini bosses. Now, we can talk about the fighting mechanics. When you first start off, you're just dodging, parrying, and throwing punches and kicks. That's it. But Frontiers grants Sonic experience by breaking stuff, defeating enemies, or doing tricks. Sonic can level up to unlock new moves, mainly for fighting in the skill tree. The Elder and Hermit Coco is how you unlock more special moves. These moves include a flying kick, projectiles, and things of those nature. The different moves often do more damage, and that's pretty much it. But if Sonic can fill the combo meter, once unlocked, Sonic enters the Phantom Rush, allowing for more hits on the enemies and after images of Sonic appear while fighting. Honestly, some people don't care much for combat, but I like it enough. It still has the speed nature of Sonic implemented into the fights, which is cool. Honestly, I think some of the mini bosses are typically too easy, which is why if you notice, I tend to ignore leveling up Sonic too much because the combat becomes basically pointless. Every fight can be completed so quickly if Sonic is too high of a level, but that is fine, I guess, or I'll just decide on my own not to level him up. But the speed is in the combat, but it only happens when the game feels like it. One of the problems is that while some mini bosses are fast, some are slow, or just take forever to get a hit in. This sucks because while the combat is simple but designed to go somewhat fast, you have these assholes just slowing down the process. There is no reasons for bosses like Shark, or hell, I'll even say Fortress. They shouldn't be in it. I somehow imagine that if I say Squid, I'm gonna get on everyone's hate list. The combat isn't bad by any means. I just wish some of these mini bosses have been implemented better into the actual gameplay. So what about the last gameplay style? Well, after fighting the mini bosses, you can collect a portal gear which allows you to enter the cyberspace portals, which take you to the cyberspace levels. And damn it, Green Hill, Chemical Plant again. Oh, I mean, hey, Sky Sanctuary, that's alright, I guess. But Sega, for the love of God, stop reusing old zones. I get it, it's easier to develop, but I am so sick and tired of old zones. After Frontiers, I don't want to see them again. Thankfully, that may be happening with Superstars, having brand new levels, which is great, thank goodness. But cyberspace, these are the levels that can grant you vault keys. By going through the levels and reaching certain conditions, Sonic will be given vault keys. This is the best way to get them. But the cyber levels, in all honesty, they not only reused old zone aesthetics, but what? This is Metal Harbor. And wait a minute, this is Chunan Act 3 from Unleashed. And this is modern Green Hill and classic Green Hill from Generations. What the fuck? They reuse the same levels? Mind you, some levels are brand new. But what the hell? This is weird. The Generation levels are meh. Well, the 2D parts. But honestly, the Unleashed and Adventure ones actually aren't too bad. They can be kind of cool. It's weird. For whatever reason in the cyberspace levels, Sonic in 2D, even while boosting, feels so slow. But in 3D, he feels better. Because of that, any level with 3D feels great. 2D, meh. So some of the Generations and Unleashed levels are awesome, but sometimes when it's 2D, it just feels slower. It is so weird to me, but honestly, it just feels like these are filler, not necessarily thought out that much. Honestly, with the homing dash ability, it dramatically increases the enjoyment because you could do stupid shit like this. And with the spin dash, oh my gosh, it's not too bad then. But if you're gonna do cyberspace, don't reuse old level design. Honestly, running to the old levels as as a Sonic fan was cool because I was recognizing them and I was like, oh my gosh, look. And to clarify, I don't think they are that bad. The adventure levels are pure 3D and let you get creative with the new movement options. The 2D sections I don't like too much because it feels way slower. But overall, I think these are alright. And since you don't have to do them all, I don't think they hinder the experience too much. Besides, with the cyberspace levels in the new story mode, damn, they kind of redeemed themselves, I'm not gonna lie. In the new story mode, the new cyberspace levels were made and wow, they definitely got creative with the movement options. Almost as if they knew players would be doing this stupid shit, allowing for grander level design on these new levels. Some are very experimental, but they work. I just wish they were like this in the entire game, not just in the new stuff. But if the cyberspace levels are designed like this, I may not mind if they come back, but still would prefer the open zone parts more. Once enough vault keys are collected, you can go and gather the Chaos Emeralds. Most Chaos Emeralds are collected this way, but some require mini games to gather. Most of the mini games aren't too bad. I have heard them described as pace breaking, but honestly, they can be done so quickly that they just feel like a little distraction, something to, kill the time. Nothing bad. The only one I didn't like was the piece of shit pinball minigame. Who thought the score quota needed to be this large? If you lose, you have to start over, which happened to me a lot, like what the hell? But once all the emeralds are gathered by the vault keys, by reaching the head of the Titans, you can transform into Super Sonic and fight the Titans. And Jesus, when I first did this, oh my gosh. Damn, these boss fights are so much fun. It is you just going to town on them. They can be easy once you know what you're doing. That's a problem on repeated playthroughs because once you break it down or level up Sonic too much, these boss fights become kind of a joke. But dude, I don't care. I still have fun just beating the living daylights out of them. The boss fights are just hype inducing. I love it. Oh my gosh, it's so good. So that's all the collectibles, but Jesus, some of you may be thinking that is a lot. Why on earth would I gather everything? Like, that's way too much. Well, Frontiers lets you get them in other ways. Side looping these blue spots can grant you portal gears and even vault keys. Sometimes even enemies can. But if you don't want to do all that, the purple coins you find let you go fishing. The purple coins are found everywhere or during the Starfall event where enemies are revived and a slot machine is shown to let you get more purple coins. You can actually turn this off too if you want. And in the new update, the Starfall event was even changed. In the update, now it grants you defense and attack seeds and cocos to level up the characters faster. That's really cool. The purple coins are needed for the fishing portal. When approaching one of the cyberspace portals, it takes you to a digital pond with Big the Cat, where the two of you are just fishing. By doing the fishing minigame, you can trade tokens for Big Shop, which lets you get any collectible you need. That is awesome because it gives you a choice. You want to spend all the time fighting? Go for it. Look for items? Do it. Playing cyberspace levels? Well, they're right there. Or do you just want to sit back and fish? You have choices. Find them by completing cyberspace. The blue spots are defeating certain enemies. I don't need to pick one way. I have options. I love that. And Big's fishing grants me another way. The grinding for Frontiers, in my eyes, doesn't become a problem because you naturally reach most quotas just by playing the game. Until the original Aronos Island. For some reason here, the memory token quota became super large. Same with finding cocos and seeds to level up Sonic throughout the game. Once you reach higher levels, they ask for more. But that's where I started fishing, meaning that regardless, it cut my time down because I had a choice. My biggest problem with Big's fishing is actually story related, like I mentioned earlier. The minigame is pretty simple and can be relaxing, so I think overall the fishing minigame is executed relatively well. I actually hate the fact that this is where you find the Eggman memos. Why? Why are they here? This is Eggman's thoughts on what's going on. At first I was like, oh cool, extra stuff. This is awesome. This is, he's just mentioning stuff. But then he mentions what he thinks of Sage, and you see more of him developing feelings for the AI, and I thought, like many other people, why is this here? Why couldn't I find these across the Eggman bases or the Death Egg robots on the islands? Why on earth does Digital Big have it? Yes, the lore says he's a digital thing Sonic came up with to feel safe and relaxed because he trusts Big, which is really nice. I love that. But like seriously, this is so heartbreaking because it can make Eggman's feelings come out of nowhere. But again, the fishing is there to help, which I do love. Before we jump into the new update stuff, one problem I had with the original base ending, besides the memory token quota, was actually the final boss. Not Supreme, I mean the actual end. What the hell is this? Like, it doesn't have the same impact as this.
You have served your purpose.
This is pathetic, but the new updates added on to this game. In the original base game, it was the Sonic show, like always, but the new story update brought us a new final boss and brand new characters. Holy shit. For the first time since Black Knight, unless you count Shadow and Forces, we have different playable characters. Oh, this was awesome because we have new story beats that add to it and new characters. Amy, Knuckles, and Tails are all playable and follow the base foundation to Sonic, but like always, they have their own traits. Amy was granted a triple jump essentially and a glide. Knuckles has his glide and can climb selectable walls, which is weird, like why only these? I imagine it was easier to program. I'm guessing. And Tails can fly just like the Adventure Days. Not just that, the open zone was changed to accommodate everyone. Once again, letting you get creative with their movement options. I love it when games do that. They're even color coded. This ultimately feels like an expansion on what the characters can do. All the terrain and obstacles are fit for those characters. At first, everyone is limited, but unlocking experience lets you unlock their abilities where you can fully get creative with them. Some are very broken, but still fun. Like Tails, he literally pulls out the tornado and can fly. That's pretty broken, but they're fun. The bosses were ramped up too. Oof, okay, maybe a little too much. But another update made them easier. Now a bit too easy, but these boss fights are designed to actually fit more with the speed nature of Sonic. And going back to play them, I can appreciate those changes. But the movement the characters can do, the expansion of cyberspace, the open zone, and no longer having to collect a shit ton of memory tokens, yeah, this is great. The color-coded obstacles still poppin', clashing with the aesthetics, and alright, let's talk about those can of worms. The poppin' for this game is awful. Like, what is this? It happens so frequently, and it takes you out of it. And hell, it kind of prevents you from fully getting immersed. It's pretty bad. But to dive more into the aesthetics, the graphics themselves, and the design of the islands, I like them. For this game only. I love nature, so to me, running around on the grass of Aronos and Kronos Island, that made me happy. Ares Island, not so much, because if you guys couldn't tell, I'm not the biggest fan of desert levels. And Chaos Island was cool, but it's not my favorite. But I don't mind the realistic look here. However, this is the only time I want to see something like this again. Frontiers takes place on the Starfall Islands, which is the island where an ancient civilization was lost. The island is empty with only nature remaining and their lost architecture. The graphics look great, and people even say it looks like Unreal Engine. Usually as a complaint that it doesn't mix, but dude, let's be real. Sonic has had realistic environments before. Like, come on. The graphics are clean and the lighting is great. Like, come on. It works here, but if they make a sequel, I don't want this again. I want to see people roaming around, animals like Sonic and friends, or even Flickies just roaming across wherever I'm exploring. I want the aesthetics to be closer to a Sonic game, not Green Hill. No, but something similar to it. Let me explore jungles, towns, and ruins. Not just this. It works here, but it won't work again. The music, however, does fit with the island, and hell, Tomoya Urtani is proving again he's better than some stupid ass DJ. The music is all over the place. One minute it's fitting with the aesthetics of the island, the next moment we are fighting mini bosses and exploring cyberspace with electro music, EDM, and then we have the Titan boss fights with just fills you with hype. Like, damn. The atmospheric pieces fit so well and are just beautiful to listen to, and as you progress through the story, it starts changing to fit more of what is happening. It's done so well. As for the lyrical track, they brought the guy from Sleeping with Sirens, Kellen Quinn. I think him coming was great. That's it. Sega also brought in the Japanese band 1OK Rock that nobody ever talks about anymore. But to their credit, the song is actually pretty cool. Honestly, Frontiers is fun, but it has its issues. To me, the pop-in was a major issue. The difficulty for me was way too easy. Regarding combat, for me, I purposely wouldn't level up Sonic because it was too easy. Fighting everything. Even on hard mode, this is great for first timers, but the open zone parts are where they may struggle. I think it's pretty easy, and if you experiment, you can easily do the open zones, but even some Sonic fans struggle with it sometimes. With the updated parts like the new towers, they struggle, but even I struggle with the Master Coco trial, needing to lower the difficulty. But while it sucked, that is also another thing. I could change the difficulty whenever I wanted and wouldn't be penalized. I thought the towers were great because, again, look at what I can do. But some fans didn't like it, but the creativity I was able to do and the fun I had, to me, that's what matters. It has problems, the pop-in, presentation, and hell, Chaos Island has a lot of forced 2D sections being rampant all over the place. It's a problem that can be avoided. It is not that bad because the creativity you have with this game is fun. I can go to the 2D section and do that, or I can spin dash off a slope and get the item that way. I could play the original Ronos Island, but I want to play as Amy, Tails, Knuckles, and Sonic. I could fight this mini boss, or I could say fuck you and run away or tactically retreat and go get portal gears another way. I can go fishing to make the collecting easier. To me, Frontiers gives you choice, and to me this is fun. I can choose what to do. I have the freedom to play as I want. I can change Sonic to fit my playstyle as best as I can. I have the freedom to do so. I love that because to me, even parts of Frontiers that you may not like fighting Shark or climbing the lookout towers or collecting way too many memory tokens, you can do other things to help and pick your preferred way to do it all. I love that so much. It gives me freedom to choose, and with the slider options, it's a game that encourages you to enjoy it your own way. Honestly, I put a lot of hours into Frontiers. I even collected all the memory tokens and got a crown for it. And I don't think it's that consistent throughout the entire time you play. There is issues here, and it's not a consistent great game, but the excited moments for me are up there, and the mistake it makes still don't hinder the movement, which is what I love most. These mistakes feel tiny. They're not massive, they're tiny. The updates also added a boss rush, cyberspace levels, a new hard mode, which completely changes fights and bosses because you cannot get hit once. So if the game is too easy, well, there you go. And this was all for free. That is amazing. To me, Sonic Frontiers is fun, and it makes tiny mistakes that can hinder the experience a bit, but nothing here made me go, ugh, bad game. I have played this way too much, but I had a blast every single time, and seeing that the writing was overall good, the game did well, and the expanded ideas in the updates alone, I am hopeful we will get something even better. I don't want reused aesthetics, no cyberspace levels from old games, no abandoned island. Give me the things I like and make it even more special. This was a fun time for me, but not perfect, but it raises my expectations for what comes next. Some of you may not love Frontiers. You guys may end up liking it, or you may think it's just meh. To me, I love the movement and the additions they added. I had fun. I love it, and I think if you are a fan, you should get it. If you aren't a Sonic fan, get it on sale if you're curious. For real, this was fun. That is about it for Sonic Frontiers. It's fun, and to be honest, I'm excited to see what's next. You guys have a good one, and take care.